It's been cloudy for 3 months, literally 3 months straight. Tiny little breaks in the clouds, but haven't been able to do much astrophotography. So I've been doing a lot of other stuff like printing, 3D printing. I've got some big projects in the works, some new on-steps based on the Feistek. It's a bunch of letters. The S6, it's like FYSTEC. I think a lot of these products I don't think have pronounceable names. They just string some letters together and call that the product name. But it's like the Feistek S6 3D printer board, and OnStep has been ported to that board. And I'm doing a couple of those builds. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to share that with you guys. But today I'm just going to talk about 3D printing. I found an amazing product for SLA printers. Now I use a resin printer, and they can be a little challenging to work with. You know, they're messy, smelly. But the main problem that I've had is getting things off of the build plate. And you have to print it, you know, suspend it in a support structure. Otherwise, it's really hard to get it off of the build plate. Until I found this from Sovol, another name that might not have a pronunciation. Sovol3D, Sovl3D, I think. Something like that. But they produce a flexible build plate for resin printers. And I got one, and it's amazing. It's just got this big self-adhesive magnetic base here, and then this spring steel plate comes off of it, and you stick the self-adhesive plate to your build plate, and then you print right on the spring steel, and then you can take that off and give it a flex, and your parts will pop right off. And I've been using it for a while, and it's amazing. Especially if you're working with some difficult resins. Like this is 100%. This is a print I just did, 100% tough resin. And this stuff, the first time I used this, I had to grind it off of the build plate. It was so difficult. Had a problem with this print. Let me see if I can show you guys this up close here. See if that'll focus. But you can see the plate kind of slid off the side, and the print got bent. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see how it kind of slides off to the side there, because the plate started working itself off of the magnetic plate. You can see started working itself off of the build plate, and that's because I didn't clean it off enough. It had a little bit of residue left on it, so it wasn't seated against the magnet. So as it was printing, it kind of worked itself off. Luckily, it didn't really mess up the print. It's just down here on the very bottom. Still a usable part. My client should be happy. But yeah, I finished this. All I did was clean it. And this is 100% tough resin. I'm going to see if I can get it off of this build plate. See, you just pop that off of the magnet, and you give it a little flex here. Pops right off. Perfectly clean. That's beautiful. But yeah. Then you just go from there like typical, and you get this, wash this off, easy to wash, and clean, wash and dry everything off, stick it back together, and it is nice. It's completely revolutionized my 3D printing on the resin printer. But yeah, great product. Only two real issues with it. The first one, like I'd mentioned, you got to make sure this is really nice and clean. I think all that was left on it was like dry kind of dust from the printing, the cleaning solution I've got back there. I think it left, you know, kind of resin dust on there after I had let it dry, and that just didn't have enough friction on the plate, and it allowed it to work itself off as it was printing, and kind of messed up that print. So yeah, make sure everything's really clean and dry. And the other main thing is that this is going to add like 3 millimeters of thickness to your build plate. And on this Photon S here, it caused a problem because as the plate comes down, it's got a little tab that breaks a photo sensor. It breaks a beam going to a photoelectric diode, and that lets it know when it gets to its home position. And with all this extra thickness, it wouldn't go low enough, so it was just like grinding against the LCD screen. I was worried I broke it, but no harm done. But all I did was tape a little piece of cardstock on the bottom of that tab, the thickness of the additional material here, so that it breaks that beam soon enough, and then you just set the Z0, and then you just zero out your Z-axis like normal and level your build plate like normal, and away you go. But yeah, other than those two things, make sure it's really nice and clean, and make sure you are going to actually be able to, you know, set your home position and your Z-axis. Other than those two things, it's kind of a no-brainer. It was like $10. I think it was like $20 for two of them. And yeah, it has really revolutionized my 3D printing, and I'm very happy with the product, and you should get one if you have an SLA printer. But yeah, I got some big stuff coming for the astrophotography. I ordered an ASI 2600 monochrome that's on the way. That's currently in Japan, working its way here to the United States. And I've got a Hyperstar coming for the 11-inch. Going to have some big things coming. I'm working on filters, trying to decide. Bader makes some high-speed filters. But yeah, a lot of big stuff coming from astrophotography, plus the new on steps. So I hope to start being able to put some more content about those. But otherwise, keep looking up, clear skies, keep making things. It's a lot of fun.